Many of you are working on your final research papers for English 10, and I've noticed that some of you are having trouble dealing with citations and aren't clear on what an MLA formatted paper should look like. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a preview to show you what you should be looking at. You want to double click, for just formatting the paper, you want to double click in the header, and then I'm using Google Docs here, but it would look the same in Microsoft Word. And then you would click on Insert, and you would do a page number, and you want it at the top of the page in the upper right. So then you'll see when on the next page it still has my last name, Noon, but now it's page 2. And you can see that I've already set up my page to have the Works Cited there. You would have your name, your teacher's name, the class, and the date in this upper left-hand corner. And then I have it as a draft, and you could just take that out and it would just be the title would go here. I've decided to make the research question the title. This is a fake paper, and so in the interest of time I didn't write an entire paper for you, but I wanted to show you what the difference is between using a parenthetical citation and then to remind you how to use Easybib to get the full citation and how they relate to one another. So if my research question was, how is the relationship between the US and Russia affected by elements of communication, one of the things that I might look at would be the information that was put out recently by Putin about cutting out 755 diplomatic and technical staff. So you can see here that I put a name in parentheses. When you wrote about fences and the bean trees, you might have put a page number here, like 5. But because this is a website, I don't have a page number, and so I only put the author's name. It comes from this article, and let's say I'm not a professional with MLA. I'm going to make sure that on easybib.com, which is a website, there are lots of websites, but this one works particularly well for this assignment. I'm going to go to www.easybib.com, and I'm going to make sure I've selected MLA 8 because that's the most recent one. I am using a website, so I'm going to copy in the URL that I got from the website and click Cite It. And then it asks me if this is what I wanted. And so I look at it and I can preview it by clicking on this link, or I can just say, yep, that's it, and cite it. So they got a lot of information for me. They have the website, the article title, the publisher, and even the author. And they also know when it was published and when I accessed it. So that makes it really easy. I'm going to check the pieces of information to make sure that they're correct. Andrew Roth, yes. The Washington Post, WP Company, and all of this is right. And then I click on Create Citation. So it's pretty long, but it was a pretty long name for the title. Some teachers will say that you don't need this. They include it in case your teacher wants it, but in most cases you don't have to have the whole URL. So right now it's almost exactly what I need. So I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go back to my Google Doc, and then I'm going to go down to my Works Cited, and I'm going to hit Enter, and then I'm going to make sure that I click on this to make sure it's left justified, and I'm going to paste the citation. A couple problems with it. One is that it's highlighted. So I'm going to make sure it's normal text. I need to change it to Times New Roman and 12-point font. And then I'm going to click on Highlight and write None. And then let's say my teacher said that it's really long and I don't have to include all of this. So I'm just going to include that it's from, I'm just going to take it out. And then it shouldn't be punctuated like a paragraph. The first part, Roth, needs to be all the way on the left. But then it needs to be double spaced. So I click on this icon and I choose double spaced, and then I click on Employees and I drag it over. I grab the wrong thing, don't grab the wrong thing. I did it wrong. So it's a little bit easier to do that in Word than here. What I ended up needing to do was get the whole thing organized, and then I selected these, and then I grabbed the rectangle to drag it over here. This is what you want it to look like. You want, Roth is our identifier. If we wanted to know where this quotation came from, up here, Roth, then we want to make sure that Roth we can identify quickly. And that's why the extra lines are always indented, so that Roth is right there and we can find it easily. So let's say as I've been working on my project, I've made citations for all of the different sources that I have used. So I can go in, and I haven't saved anything, I just used Easybib on the same computer. So I'm going to click on View in List. And when I view it in the list, you'll see that it's also alphabetized. You can go ahead and sort the order by alphabetizing or least recent, but the default is this. You can export it if you need to, but you can also just copy the different websites and copy them in. When we talk about in-text citations, we're talking about parenthetical. So we have to pay for it, but the part that I'm highlighting here would be what you would put in the parentheses. You would do just the part that's here. So you would do media minute, or you would do white for these different citations that you might use. And it also tells you that it was a website, and it also would tell you if you had an article. So let's say we wanted to copy this one in. Again, we would just copy it, and then we look at our Works Cited, and we know that it's going to come after. It's a little bit easier to do this formatting part in Microsoft Word. But you would put it back in. You can see the font is wrong, so you have a little work to do with Easybib. Put it in Times New Roman and change it to 12-point font. Again, this kind of messes up the formatting a little bit, so you could just put a period here, and then we'll see if it will let me do it this time without making a mistake. No. So, and then you just adjust this again. So my cheat for getting this to work, and I'm sure there's an easier way, is I'm just hitting enter. So, and once I hit enter, I just hit tab, and then it sends it over there. But again, I'm going to double check that I have Roth and white, and then if I was going to have a citation for white, let's say I'm going to include another quotation here that's from white, I would put white in parentheses. Notice that there's no punctuation between the last word staff and the quotation marks, and there's no punctuation before Roth. Sometimes you'll see that I put this right next to the quotation to remind you to do that, but often when you're writing in literary analysis, you would put it at the end of the sentence. Technically speaking, both are okay. You just want to make sure that the citation is as close to the quotation as possible. So hopefully this clears up a few things. It reminds you of how you might use Easybib to make citing things easier for you, and how to use the free version and why it's really useful. Keep in mind that they also have a lot of additional free resources here. You can make a title page. They also have a link to get free grammar checking from Grammarly. So it is a really nice tool for students. And then remember again that you want your paper to look like this. You can see it's Times New Roman, it's 12-point font. I have this set to normal text, and then the one last thing that I need to do is make it double spaced. So I would click here and double spaced, and then just as another reminder, the parts in green I would have filled in with other paragraphs, so these would not be ones that you would include in your paper. Good luck!